Now that's a look that says back off. So that's what I'm going to do. Because we don't want to stress Mum, although with every new arrival brings the start of a checklist of jobs to do. Now, this is a natural birth. We've been watching her closely, and she's calved about 2 hours ago, maybe 3. And most of the ticks are done. Now I'm just waiting for reinforcements to dip its navel, because there'll be people here very soon, and she's just a little bit keen, which is what happens sometimes when the calf's born. They're animals, not machines, and they all vary. But she's a little bit calf proud, which is good in a way. Now the only negative is that it's aiming high in terms of trying to feed. It's not quite managed to work out. I've been watching it, and it's not managed to work out how to latch. So we're gonna have to have a think. Either pop her in the restraining crush, or we'll put a halter on her and teach it to drink. It'll only need teaching once, I think. There's nothing wrong with it, and we're still well within the colostrum window, so there's no urgent drama. But that's a job that needs doing. I've just backed off because she was just sort of challenging me a little bit, just by body language, and I don't want to stress her. She's more comfortable now. But it's a champion little calf, and it's the last of the Shorthorns to calve now. So that's something we can put a line under. We've got some really great calves. The only disappointment was Muriel losing her calf at springtime, but beyond that, they've been. Little Whippet or Greyhound is a little bit, unique. But the rest of them are big, strong, robust, and indeed we've had 2 sets of really good quality twins. So we couldn't have asked for a lot more. The twins are all heifers, so they're all breeding cattle. So Gladys has done the business. Very pleased with that. She's given us what I think is probably a heifer calf. Nice little small head, nice little markings on its forehead, I think. And the year of 2025 keeps on giving. She's got a nice bag full of milk now. She's gone from not a lot to a lot in 24 hours there. So it's really interesting how late they bag up, and how they change, and when they change, that's the time to watch. And I've been watching at regular intervals throughout the night. But this wouldn't have been my biggest expectation of a birth tonight or last night. We've got an alpaca that I would have said was closer. We've got a miniature American horse that I would have said was closer. We've got Lilibet next door, the Highland there, who I would have said was closer. But this is what continues to make animals and new life super interesting. So she's come to have a look. I'd be a lot happier if that calf had just latched and sucked, but that's just sometimes what we've got to. There's always something, isn't there? And she's nice and calm, wandering round. Off back to the calf. We just need to find a way to get that calf aiming just a tad lower and latching. I don't actually think it will latch now. They normally, it's mobile enough, it's steady enough. It's been on its feet for an hour or two, so I think it's probably going to need a hand. So maybe wait till Philip gets here, and we'll probably do that, and we'll film it as well. We'll let you know how we go and what we do to seal the deal, to make the job complete. It's always nice to do things, and you guys then see how we went about it and how we accomplished a certain task. So yeah, that's our next project. When I woke up this morning, I thought, shall I go to watch England play cricket last day against India? It's only at Headingley down the road. Obviously a keen cricket fan. And I thought, Now there'll be something needs doing, and sure enough, there's something needs doing, and that's the life of farming. You know, there's always something around the corner, especially when you've got such a varied collection of animals as we have to take up your time. Victoria says, "Good morning, Farmer Rob. What a lovely surprise! Congratulations on the new arrival." Thank you, Victoria. Begbie Brown says, "Heart-shaped on the forest." It's a lovely markings, that, isn't it? Sally says, "Good morning, everyone." Good morning to you, Sally. Pauline says, "Morning, Rob." Nadine says, "Must come back here over the summer holidays. We'd love to see you." And Frances says, "Another lovely baby calf." Ria says, "Beautiful calf." Wendy says, "Nothing. Morning, Rob. Thanks for the update. That's beautiful." Excuse me. So, if you're visiting, please bear in mind, kids are half price for the rest of this month. So, hopefully that'll prompt a visit before the month is out. Eve says, "Great new calf. Love the heart on its forehead." It's particularly striking, isn't it, that? Leanne Rogers is sending a nice emoji, and Carol says, "Morning, lovely surprise on this damp day." Yeah, a little bit drizzly, but not so bad, and I don't think it's going to be too bad. I'm just, if it just grabbed that teat now, it's sort of about the right height now. There's an optimum time to latch, and I think that optimum time's passed because those teats are quite full now. They're quite big, and he's just continually aiming too high. All it would need, if she was a quiet cow, I'd walk in there, put my hand in the calf's mouth, get it sucking my hand, and then just angle the teat down, get it to suck the teat, and you'd be aware that's literally all there is to it. The problem we've got is I've just been in there and she's more or less chucked me out. You know, she just looked at me and I read the room and I thought, yeah, I don't want to charge you. I don't want her upset either. You know, if we're going to have to upset her, we might as well do it in a focused way where we've got a plan. We expedite that plan. The culmination of that plan is that calf gets a tummy full of milk, and then hopefully, if we do it right, we never have to go in there again and do the same thing. So Philip and I'll have a bit of a think, and we'll come up with something that hopefully gets that calf drinking. But it does need to drink within the next 2 or 3 hours, really, and we'll make sure it does. I'll warn the rest of the team that she's. I think we put her in the not to be trusted category at the moment, and you know, senior staff only, because there's ways and means of keeping everyone safe, and that includes mum and the calf. You know, we've got to make sure that everyone comes out of this alive and well. And when you're dealing with, you know, 600 or 700 kilos of sometimes, you know, a freshly calved cow it can be an aggressive cow, so we've got to make sure that we follow best protocols and best practice, and we absolutely will. But the main thing is we stay safe. But the other main thing is that calf gets some colostrum in the very near future. But we will do that. So that's Lilibet, and I don't think she's far off. And the donkeys have been in last night because it was forecast rain. Probably all right to go out again today. I don't think there's any significant rain coming. So Lilibet is the next cow to calve. And while we're on, we'll just have a wander up and I'll show you how the new alpacas are doing. I'll show you how the heavily pregnant miniature donkeys are going. So one last look at Gladys and the calf. Very pleasing. Further updates to come on how we get it to latch, and the CCTV of its birth, hopefully. If it's under a camera, then we'll show you. So, where do we go? We're heading upwards. Onwards and upwards. And we'll call in at the Rare Breeds Barn, where the 3 mini donkeys and Alice, the miniature American horse, are waiting to give birth. And I really thought they would be the ones to watch last night. I didn't really think Gladys was so close, but it just goes to show it's that late late change in pregnancy that you have to watch for. And the one that's coming up the rails here is raspberry. So Pearl's the one we've been watching forever and a day. And I wouldn't want to put any money on who's next. Raspberry's the one nearest to us. Pearl is the grey one on the other side. And raspberry's changing more rapidly than Pearl at the moment. So 947 people watching. Please give us a share if you possibly can. So those two donkeys, the dark sorrel and the traditional light grey, they're the two that are going to be first. And then Alice is the American miniature horse, who is lovely. I've sort of fallen in love with her a little bit because she's fallen in love with us, because she's just become so friendly and affectionate in late pregnancy, and it's something I always love to see. That you know, that change in personality, that hormonal change. You know, she's become more needy of us, and yeah, we want to make sure we're there for her. She's having a yawn now. When she needs us, and hopefully we will be. We'll do our level best. Hopefully everything goes really well. So yeah, that's the one of the next things to look out for. But the other, we're fighting on three fronts at the moment: calves, foals, and cria, because we've got another alpaca that we think is very close to unpacking. We had another one born yesterday afternoon, and we had one born on Sunday. Now the one born yesterday afternoon belonged to Blondie, so it would have been highly appropriate if Blondie had a Sunday girl, but she didn't. She had a Monday girl, and it was Whitney that had a Sunday girl, so they got it wrong. But they got it right, because the two beautifully, you know, they're really large, they're really wick, they knew exactly where the teat was. You know, exactly what we didn't get from Gladys's calf, that ability to latch, we got from these two with spades, so that was very pleasing. And in some ways it's easier to teach a calf to drink than it is a cria, because there's something that we're a lot more used to training to drink. They've got bigger teats. They're generally easier to, you know, if you had to, you could bucket feed a calf basically by getting a bucket full of milk, putting your hand in the bucket and letting it drink your fingers through from within the bucket and slurping up the milk that way. So teaching calves to drink is not the most difficult skill. The most difficult skill is doing it without mum knocking you into next week, especially with a suckler cow. Dairy cows are more placid. Suckler cows are a little bit more like a wild animal. And the look in Gladys's eye this morning told me she was not for me being in there. You know, ideally, she wanted me out. So yeah, we're going to have to go in there and train that calf to drink the teat. We'll make a plan and hopefully expedite it where everyone's safe and sound and the calf gets its tummy full of colostrum. So please give us a share if you possibly can. I'm going to climb in here, because I was going to talk to you actually this morning about how to climb over. Yeah, we're in. About what we do when something like one of these is born. Now, there's a video to come out about this one's arrival, but it wasn't straightforward. It was a complicated situation. It was, what's the word? It was slightly chaotic. And that's what you often get with these alpacas. They're such social creatures. If one starts to give birth, they all want to get involved. They all want to. See that there. That's something for us to take an interest in. I think she's only drinking one side. You see, there's one front quarter on her udder there that's not been drunk. I think we'll need to strip that out, because I think that's now too big for the cria to get its mouth round. So we'll empty that. Might even freeze it. might come in really handy that one day. So yeah, they all want to get involved. It sometimes puts the crea like Blondie here was trying to give birth. All the rest were clambering over, having a look. What's happening here? Oh, is it a boy or a girl? Have you had it yet? It was a real jumble. So Ruth and Kate, what we've learnt to do through experience is they don't like taking away from the pals because the pals give them comfort in that moment, but they don't like being clambered over when they're trying to give birth. So we just put it in an adjoining pen and let them carry on. Now, she carried on to the point where she pushed its head and its front legs out, but then it got stuck for 5 minutes and it started to breathe less well. And anyway, I'll not spoil the video, but anyway, it's obviously here and fit and well. So when they're born, checklist is something like this: dip the navel, make sure there's no avenue or superhighway for infection. We then want to make sure that the pen is safe, so we'll put extra hurdles in. Say for instance, we don't want the little one creeping through and spending time with Aussie horsebone or a cow, or so we'll add any extra hurdles needed to make sure that crea can't escape, because obviously if it crawls in with the wrong cow or the wrong horse, it's game over. We'll then make sure that the bed is suitable for it to gain footing, and that may involve putting extra straw down. Straw and shavings knit together quite nicely. That seems to give them the best chance of stability, and that's what we did here. That one's having a right good drink. The next job then is to see if mum needs any pain relief, any anti-inflammatories, which is again is another good thing, because all those after pains that stop the bonding process can be a barrier to latching and to feeding. So we do that. We'll dry the crea off, because they're not great lickers. They don't tend to lick the crea. Dry the crea off and remove membranes, birth membranes from it, and then step away from the alpaca. Step away from the alpaca and make sure that they've got the time and space to bond, and for the youngster to find its feet. Once it's found its feet, and hopefully then found the teat, and again it's one of those things that either seems to happen or it doesn't, and if it doesn't, then we might have to milk mum and bottle it. Mostly they will latch, these two did. And then it's a case of putting a little jacket on, even though it's summer. Unless it's extremely warm, we always tend to put a jacket on for a couple of 3 days, so that any heat is not lost to the atmosphere, and they can retain, and these two, that was born on Sunday, that was a Sunday girl. This one's even bigger, I think. This was a Monday girl, 2 females. That's Whitney, that's Blondie. And yeah, we couldn't be happier with the start to life that they've made. So that's sort of the checklist, and then it's a case of if all those boxes are ticked and everything's done, you go and have a cup of tea and reflect on a job well done. So that's what we've done. Julie says, you really have had a bumper crop of top quality babies. Thank you, Julie. I sort of know where you're coming from, because I feel the same myself. I feel as though we've been on a journey over the last few years of improvement, and we're starting to reap the rewards of that now. More interesting animals, better quality, better kept, and hopefully resulting in better outcomes. So we're feel as though we're in a good place. Anne says, morning Rob. Good morning, Anne. And Sandra says, gorgeous babies. So I'll probably leave you there somewhat, and go and start making up a plan for getting that little calf drinking, for getting the navel dipped. Excuse me. Rosemary says, both cute, so cute, but love the white face. Yeah, it is sweet, isn't it? So that's not your mum. Blonde is your mum. Jill sent 50 stars. Thank you, Jill. Sammy says, they look good. I'm a groomer and hate it when I see these tufts all over. Those look great. Thank you. How is Sultan Rob, says Susan? He's better. I don't think he's a lost cause for the Yorkshire Show, but equally, he'll only go if he's fully sound. So it's a waiting game now. It's not just a waiting game, it's a treatment game. We're treating him with painkiller and antibiotics, and hopefully we can get him back where we want him. Rhea says, thank you, Rob, great broadcast. Sharon says, talking of babies, is there any babies to come from the late great Hercules? That's Sharon Leakey. Yes is the answer, Sharon. There's Silver and Brooke are both in foal to Hercules. Just trying to think what else. There's Ruby, all being well. She was in foal in the very early stages of pregnancy. We need to keep scanning her, because there was something about the scan that the vet wasn't completely happy about, but we're monitoring, so hopefully that's okay. And then we've got Blossom and Sapphire. Sapphire's obviously Hercules' mum, so she's obviously not in foal to him, but they're in foal as well. So all being well, we can look forward to 5 foals next spring and summer. So that's very exciting. Is Blondie drinking, says Sammy? Yeah. Blondie's Kriya is drinking, yeah. And what was I going to say? Sheila says, thank you for a brilliant surprise live. Lots of new babies. Hello, beautiful. Hello. Hello. No, then. Guy says, Rob, is that Murphy behind? No, that's just 3 of Murphy's lads. And they're being grown on to go to Auburn in the autumn at the bull sales. So that is the plan for them. So Claire says, Rob, can you say morning to my sister Joanne, everybody at the Lincoln Renal Unit? They will be watching. Good morning, Joanne. Good morning to everyone at the Lincoln Renal Unit. Hope you have a really, really good day. Dawn says, hope to see you at the Yorkshire Show. I'll be there every day. Health and good luck permitting. And Sharon says, good afternoon from Malaysia. Wow. Gail says, super cute. Abby says, oh, look at that face. Jane says, morning, Rob, absolutely gorgeous. Kriya's hope boy improves after a great day. Oh, excuse me. Kerry says, hope the foals look like Hercules. Bless. Was so sad to hear about Hercules. That's Kerry Ann. It's something I think that we'll learn to live with rather than get over. And you know, it's still hard to compute and comprehend. But I don't suppose it should be hard, because that's what heavy horses do to you, isn't it? They can bring the biggest highs and the most crushing lows. But if you give up, you know, with every setback, then having a little tinkle. It's good. If you give up at the first sight of every setback, then the breed would die, wouldn't they? Janet thinks called the new Kriya Phantom of the Opera with a mask. Another Karen Foster says, good morning, Rob, and everyone at Cannon Farm. How lovely. Good morning to you, Karen. And Barbara says, good morning, Rob. Another new delivery. Yeah, a new calf this morning, a new Kriya yesterday. What will this afternoon bring? Will there be further new arrivals? Rose says, what was Whitney's Kriya? It was a little girl, both little girls. Whitney had a Sunday girl. Ironically, Blondie had a Monday girl. Oh, I managed to go to the loo. That's good. Anne says, these animals are kept so well, they look amazing and loved. Thank you. The next thing for these alpacas now, we're currently in the process of buying some field shelters that we can lift from one paddock to another so that they can go out. We'll get them all born first, but then once they've got up and going and we've got a shelter. Sandy says, what was wrong with Hercules, Rob? He had a terrible colic. He had a major operation, an operation that was full of risk. He came through it. He showed real determination, Rainbow Equine Hospital showed real skill. I was so gutted for Gemma. We're a lovely lady, and she really, really cares. And it was a big operation, and he came through it, but his guts never, his stomach never regained motility. An area of his stomach just basically wouldn't work, and in the end, that's what killed him. And it was a crushing blow. That, you know, I think certainly on a par with Poppy and Chester. I don't know which one were worse, to be honest. I know which is the biggest shock. But Wade's gone in a bucket. And Joanne says, "Good morning, Rob. Lovely sight. Another little one." Donkey baby for this afternoon, says Leanne. Kay says, "Blonde career could be called Maria." And Yvonne says, "Oh, I'm in love." So that's Sunday Girl. That's Monday Girl. The confusing thing is Monday Girl belongs to Blondie, who really should have had Sunday Girl. But sometimes things don't work out perfectly well. Little note to self: 1/4 of Whitney's udder needs milking out later. That's an interesting job. Put your uds up, we might be getting spat at. But if we can milk that out now, get the crea latching onto it, it'll drink all 4 of her teats, it'll do better, and her bag will keep healthier. Sammy Simpson, "I hated seeing you so upset, but they do leave a massive hole in our heart. I lost my 14-year-old pug. It was horrible." And it felt like that kind of, you know, there's nothing gets you worse than dogs, is there? And after dogs, heavy horses, I think. But anyway, it is what it is, and we've got to soldier on and make the best of it. Look forward to his falls. Remember him for what he was, a magnificent animal, and rejoice in the fact that there will still be sons and daughters to look forward to. I'm so glad we took him to that semen collection centre. You know, we do have at least his legacy to look forward to, but it still isn't enough, if that makes any sense. So right, let's crack on. Let's press on. So thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for all your comments. Please give us a share if you possibly can, and please keep your notifications turned on, because there will be lots more things happening in the very near future. It's going to be a very, very busy week. I know there are going to be other new arrivals, and we're going to watch and try and, you know, help appropriately and look forward to hopefully more successes. So from Farmer Robert Cannonall Farm, with the latest alpacas, I'm going to go and see if we can get this calf latching, get its navel dipped, and then shut the gate on that one in terms of intervention, and just enjoy watching it over the summer months. So have a great day. See you soon, and bye.